Good morning. So I'm joined this morning with Gerard from NSCC, as well as Katrin and Michelle from Acadia University. We're doing another employer info session. So this time we're going to speak a little bit on applied research projects, and we're going to start this morning with Gerard.
Thank you, Taylor, for inviting me to speak to you about the Nova Scotia Community Colleges and the services that we offer to our clients. The Nova Scotia Community College here in the Annapolis Valley has 3 campuses: Kings Tech Campus, located in Kentville, Annapolis Valley Campus in Middleton, and the Center for Geographic Sciences in Lawrencetown. The Community College is part of a college-wide system of 14 campuses across the province of Nova Scotia, strategically positioned to meet the needs of industry and programming for our graduates. Part of our services to the community is our applied research and innovation system. And our researchers work with client groups in advancing an innovation agenda to help support the growth of their companies. We also help work with companies to other institutions as part of a research agenda, like Springboard Atlantic, which we are a member, along with other member institutions like Acadia. And as part of that process, we're able to tap into federal and provincial grants to help support applied research activities here in Nova Scotia. So some of the key pillars in helping Nova Scotia reach its goals is that we have worked with over 500 industry projects in the province, generated $10.5 million in research funding, and had over 500 students interact with researchers and with companies throughout the region. So there's 4 key areas that we are engaged in: energy, engineering technologies, environment and agriculture, and geomatics. And so we'll work with companies to advance not only their current needs within their field, but if they're looking at expansion into a differing field, we're able to help them with projects from our research faculty. The last thing I'll mention is our CTAC. CTAC is the first of its kind in Nova Scotia, and it's a technology access center where companies can have access to new technology, equipment, and expertise to help support their product idea or innovation. And we are able to help those companies in the in this field to advance ocean innovation specifically. My contact information is found on the screen here, and I look forward to receiving any calls with anyone to advance the conversation around customized training, applied research, or even work integrated learning and having our students engaged in your business as part of the education process here at NSCC. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Katrin Sommerfeld, and I'm a manager at Acadia's Office of Industry and Community Engagement, or ICE as we like to call it. I am very pleased to be part of this information session today to show you what ICE is all about and how Acadia's faculty will work with you to tackle COVID-19 challenges or your research and innovation needs so you can continue to grow and move forward. Our office was formed in 2003 to look after the technology transfer and the innovation coming from Acadia's faculty. And in 2010, we were renamed to the Office of Industry and Community Engagement to reflect the shift towards the enhanced support and engagement of communities, industries, and businesses. Our work focuses on 3 core functions: applied research, industry engagement, support of startups, and commercialization. And as Gerard already mentioned, Acadia is also a member of Springboard Atlantic. So why work with us? Connecting with ICE means that we will help you to address your research needs by getting access to Acadia's expertise, our research centers, and state-of-the-art equipment. We will connect you with the right faculty for your problem, whether it is in agriculture or agri-food, data analytics, ocean-related questions, health and wellness, pest management, or sustainable energy, to name a few. And in the picture on the left, you see, for example, the Acadia Center for Sensory Research of Food supporting companies' product development and reformulation. Of course, access to funding is important to undertake the work, and navigating this landscape can be confusing. Our office is aware of the funding programs available to you to work with our researchers, and we will support you during the application process. Working with us also creates employment opportunities for students, and funding to hire students is available. My colleague Michelle will shortly tell you more about Acadia's co-op program. A federal program available to businesses and not-for-profits to hire student interns is MyTax. Requests for research expertise come to our office from MyTax, or we will introduce you to the program through our conversations. To give you a very quick overview of what working with us has meant to companies and communities over the last 6 years, here is a snapshot of our core functions. So for applied research, we were able to secure over 10 million from the provincial and federal governments to fund the research work with industry and communities solving your problems. And we have supported over 350 startup companies at various stages of development, often starting out with a small grant from NRC IRAP to investigate an idea. And quite regularly, this leads to continued engagement and larger projects with further funding support. We do also support startups through our connections and networks, introducing them to other institutions like the NSCC, if they have the expertise the company needs, or we will introduce you to ecosystem partners like NSBI or InnovaCorp. And supporting commercialization, whether you are a startup, a small or a larger business, we provide advice on intellectual property and product registration, and we also support the licensing of technology and creating spin-outs. Let me show you 3 examples to highlight what applied research supporting startups and commercialization means to companies. Atlantic Repellent Products is a great example of how a startup company can grow and has grown with the help from the ICE office and Acadia's faculty. Lisa Learning had developed her own tick repellent product that required its registration with Health Canada. Lisa reached out to our office to draw on our experience with this process, as well as to access Acadia's faculty expertise in insect management and Health Canada registration. The project registration is now underway, and the original formulation has been further developed by Acadia's faculty into a more effective product. By working with ICE and Acadia's faculty, Lisa added the needed expertise to her company that she did not have, and we continue to work together and enjoy a strong partnership. Evolution Sports and Athletic Gear is another company that, since COVID-19, athletes and sport functions are of course facing challenges to train and compete safely. And the company is developing face coverings that are ergonomically designed, don't impact the performance, and provide added safety. Acadia faculty identified key design parameters to ensure the successful design of the face coverings. And through our office, Evolution Sports and Athletic Gear was connected with NASCAT to work on specialized fabric development. The company is also working with the NSCC on the engineering of the face covering designs to ensure the right fit and that it is adjustable and comfortable. And now another Acadia faculty member is applying for MyTech student funding to test the designed face coverings on athletes to provide the company with the required data. The third example is Ocean Pride Fisheries. Their main product that they fish is sea cucumbers for export to Asia, and they do want to ensure that they harvest this resource in a sustainable manner. However, since very little was known about the stock of this species and its sustainability, they worked with Acadia's researchers, faculty and students, and its collaborators. And the project provided data on the abundance and distribution of sea cucumbers of Nova Scotia. So this has allowed the company to manage its resources and to fish sustainably for many years to come. So in essence, there is really no wrong door to reach us. We work collaboratively with our academic and research partners, economic development agencies, industry associations, community associations, and governments. And eventually, no matter where you enter, you will most likely be connected to us at one point. However, to make it easier for you, please reach out to me with any questions you might have. If I cannot help you, I will connect you to someone who can. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. I'm happy to be joining you today. My name is Michelle Larsen and I'm the Manager of Cooperative Education at Acadia University. Gerard and Katrin spoke of applied research internships, and co-op students often play a part in that. When an employer partners with a faculty member, oftentimes co-op students are hired to carry out that research, and they make a huge impact on businesses locally, both if you're a small startup business or a larger business. So Acadia is an academic program that allows students to combine their classroom studies with work experience, gaining hands-on discipline-related work experience as part of their degree while contributing to the organizations that they work with. And co-op has traditionally been thought about as being in the realm of business administration and computer science. Acadia actually offers a co-op option with 85% of its programs. So when you think about applied research projects, you sometimes do think about the sciences, but you might have a project where you're trying to launch a new product, where a new marketing student or maybe a computer science student might be applicable if you're looking at moving into the digital realm. When we're looking for co-op opportunities with employers, the things that we're looking for are opportunities that are related to the student's degree of study. We're looking for opportunities that are a minimum of 12 weeks in duration for 35 hours or more per week. And co-op work terms do need to be remunerated. Thankfully, there are lots of programs available to help with that, and I'm going to get into that at the end of my presentation. And obviously, we're looking for supervision. So with an applied research project, that supervision may be a co-supervision with the faculty member and the employer. We know that innovation happens all the time, not just during the summers. And so we have students who are available starting in January, May, and September of each year for 4, 8, 12, or 16-month durations. One of the great things about Acadia's co-op program is that if you're looking at bringing a student into your organization to help with an applied research project, the hiring process is very easy, it's speedy, and it's direct. One of the things that we value most about our organization is that we're employer-oriented and we offer a very personalized service. In terms of hiring a co-op student, it really starts with a job description, which again, if you're working with a faculty member, may be created in connection with them. But we have templates for that we can use to help you create that job description. And then once we have that, we do all the work for you. So we advertise the roles, we collect applications, we package those and send them to you by email, and we also coordinate interviews and offers for you. So when is a co-op student a great option? Well, your business may be expanding. It might be moving into the online market where a computer science student or a business student may be able to help you with that. There's organizations, especially if they're bringing on a project and they have a very busy period, co-op is a way to bring on temporary staff to handle some of those projects without having to do the investment of hiring a full-time person. And it's also wonderful because you're gaining from that youthful perspective of having a student on your team. What this allows you to do as well is to really use the co-op program as a way to grow your organization. When you bring a student in, the degree that they're doing is directly relevant to the project that you have. So you have a student who has background knowledge that can help you move that project forward. And most of our students have typically completed at least 2 years of study by the time that they start with your organization. There are lots of funding incentives available for the hiring of co-op students. So one of the things that we see is sometimes when Katrin's office partners you with a faculty member on an applied research project, we then have that faculty member coming to our office to see if there are co-op students that can help get that project done, partly because there are these specific funding programs that are only eligible for co-op students. And you can see that there's a number of them both at the federal and the provincial level. What's great about this is that oftentimes you can have 50 to 75% of your student wages covered by some of these programs. My best advice to you is to reach out to the co-op office at Acadia to talk about which program might be best for you. We're happy to provide that personalized service to point you in the right direction and to help you with applications moving forward. So thank you for the time. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll turn it back over to Taylor.
Thank you all so much for those presentations. And I do have a couple questions that I want to follow up with too. So considering that right now is definitely a difficult time because of the pandemic, the business community has definitely been especially struggling within the last few months. So what is the post-secondary community between these two institutions doing to support businesses within the Annapolis Valley region, but also sort of all over the province?
Well, that's a great question, Taylor. So the Nova Scotia Community College, in response to the pandemic, created a business hub supports page to help businesses navigate the variety of funding that's available to support their businesses. And so with that, we were receiving inquiries through that business hub within the Annapolis Valley region. And then working with our team here in the Annapolis Valley region in terms of our post-secondary institution and our service providers, we were able to basically help direct companies to either funding opportunities or resource opportunities like their e-commerce platforms. The other component to this is as well as our applied research areas seem to have more interest. Companies started looking at innovative ways to either configure their business model. And so the applied research component of the college was able to help dive into some of these problems that companies were facing and access funding through either provincial or federal funding to support that innovation framework.
Yes, and at Acadia, so we recognize that, you know, because the pandemic happened and we had to shut down for student and classes and for a while to the research labs, the work didn't stop, especially not on ongoing projects or even developing new projects. So faculty pivoted to having their labs and themselves work from home, continuing the research as much as possible from home, whether it was to focus on data analytics or prep for the projects that are ongoing. And then Acadia itself, processes were put in place to allow the research labs to open up safely again throughout the summer, so that you know, the work could continue or resume. Field work in the agriculture sector and any of the other sectors that do require field work were allowed to continue with all the with all the safety precautions needed for COVID. And so this has really allowed us to not stop what we are doing. You know, we have 13 vouchers through the Nova Scotia Business Inc. with companies that started in June, and you know, we'll finish on time. So we have just find different ways of continuing to work with you and connect with you.
Yeah, and to build upon that, one of the things, as Katrin mentioned, is that there was a lot of pivoting that had to happen when the pandemic struck to ensure that businesses continue to be supported. And so one of the things that the co-op offices did, not just at Acadia, but also nationally, was look for ways to help businesses support students. So we developed resources to help businesses understand how they could onboard and supervise students who were working from home, because we heard that that was a need that they were looking for. And the other thing that Acadia's co-op office has been doing has been working really closely with provincial government, labor and advanced education, as well as some of the federal funding bodies, to ensure that there were greater flexibility measures and additional funding for the hiring of students during this very difficult time. And both levels of government responded with resounding support, increasing the amounts that employers were able to acquire through applying for funding programs. The support has been great, and we have actually seen an increase in the number of employers who are actually bringing students into their organizations as a result.
Awesome, great. So what is the cost associated with bringing a student into my organization if I was to go this route?
So from an NSCC perspective, we have work integrated learning. So each of our programs throughout the college system has a workplace component. So students go into the workplace to hone their skills, be mentored with other employers and staff, and come back to the college to talk about their experiences and to really expose our students to the real world. As well, we have worked with clients on the customization of programs specific for new and emerging occupations. So that could be in the photovoltaic solar panel installation type programming. So those clients would be hiring individuals and then putting them into the workplace, again, through a work integrated learning component, perhaps, or hiring them directly out of the program. And labor and advanced education has supports for these types of initiatives as well, specifically around the wraparound services. And the wraparound services may be financially supporting students through wage subsidy or wage kind of supports. And so we encourage discussion around that if there's clients out there that are looking to help build their capacity in their business and introduce new and emerging technologies within their business, for example.
So the cost of bringing a co-op student into an organization largely depends on the duration of the work term, the wage that's being offered, and the funding that you've applied to and received. And so for a 12-week work term, the cost with federal funding can be as low as $3 per hour. With our provincial funding that's provided, again, this all depends. I had mentioned previously about international students currently being 100% funded, so there can be zero cost, but sometimes the cost can be up to $750 an hour or $4,000 per work term. The thing that I would, again, highly recommend for organizations is there is funding out there. It is a slog to wade through if you're not familiar with those programs. So we highly encourage you to reach out to our office to talk about what are the options for your specific role and your specific organization to allow us to point you in the right direction and give you a realistic understanding of what funding is available and what those costs might be. But often it is quite affordable to bring a student into your organization.
Yeah, and the same is true for us, Michelle. So there is the opportunity that a student can come into your organization under some project funding. There is also MyTax, which is a federal program, and it allows you to bring in a student for 4 to 6 months for one unit, and you can have 2 or 3 and sometimes even 4 units. So typically, depending on the program, the most used one is the Accelerate, which is $15,000 overall. My tax will pay $7,500 of that, and your company will pay the other $7,500. However, these students are dedicated to you and work with you, as well as the faculty together to solve your problem. So just like Michelle, I would encourage you to reach out to us because we know what's available at any given point in time, and we also talk to the funders themselves so we can help you get through this.
Perfect. So thanks so much to the three of you for joining me over Zoom today and sharing these presentations. And I will add some contact info that you've shared here in the description of the video below, so that people can reach out if they have any more questions or are looking to move forward with any projects.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.